And one of the quite dicey question that people have asked, and I think might be quite difficult to really answer, is the question of reality. Sometimes you want to describe reality as what can be seen, felt, and touched, which in a way looks reasonable until you find out that there are also other aspects of reality that can be seen and touched, but yet they are real. You come talk about the question of emotions, for instance. What you feel is a reality, and yet you can't see it with your physical eyes, and you can't also touch it, but the fact that they are felt is also a reality. So I think reality as a subject goes beyond just sight and the material world as we have it. I think the subject of reality talks about the subject of everything that is, whether seen or invisible, whether can be touched or can be felt. And what that necessarily means is that the subject of reality goes beyond what you know. So what that means is that, let's take the universe, for instance, the material universe, or what we call the observable universe. You look at the Milky Way, the galaxies, the constellation of the stars. But you see that inside that big cocoon, there are cocoons. I try to teach this and explain this in my mentorship academy, where I was showing the students about different realities that exist around us. For instance, we're in the planet called Earth, but in that planet there are continents. In the continent there are countries. In the countries there are counties or states. In the states there are tribes. And everyone is given the opportunity to experience reality at their micro level. So what you see as reality is shaped by the events at the micro level of your experience. For instance, whatever goes on in your exposure to a family, or what you see in your family, is going to go a long way to determine how you perceive reality, how you perceive love, how you perceive pain, how you perceive emotions, how you perceive people, how you perceive other people's culture. What that means is that what happens in your micro environment is that your idea of reality is shaped in that form, whether your exposure to church, whether your exposure to your family, whether your exposure to your school. So what that does is that every micro experience that we have introduces us to the way we are going to go further to perceive reality. So we perceive reality based on our micro experiences, but reality in itself is far bigger and larger than the micro experience. And that's the reason why, if I give you an illustration today and I say, imagine a ghost step into your room right now in the middle of the night while you're asleep. Just think of it. You woke up to ease yourself, and the next thing standing in front of you is a ghost. Now, we all are going to interpret that statement based on our exposure to what shapes our reality. So the African man is going to imagine, and tell me if I got it right. You're going to imagine somebody wrapped in white clothes with some powder all over the face, possibility of some cotton wools stuck to the nose and ears, and then standing on some weird sounds. Why? Because the movies you were exposed to has shaped your idea of that reality. And then maybe for someone from the other part of the world is going to also is going to interpret that illustration based on what the movies that are projected, whether somebody in suit or someone with some pale face and all that. So what happens is that our exposure, the things we're exposed to, will further go ahead to shape the way we see and perceive life in itself. So what that means is none of us sees reality. We only interpret reality based on our lens. Somebody might be making a joke, and the reality is that a joke. And for somebody who is going through a phase, is interpreting that joke in respect to what they're going through, and they cannot interpret it as a joke. It can offend them, and it can do all those things. So what I'm saying is that your approach to life, the way you interpret the things that you see, depends on the exposure that you have. So, in other words, we don't see reality. We can't see all that is real. We interpret it based on our exposure and our experience. And what that means is that has the tendency to cast limitations on our interpretation.